Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt this quiet, persistent nudge, like your story is meant to be shared, but the thought of actually doing it makes you feel exposed or too vulnerable? Maybe you've lived through something powerful. Maybe you've got wisdom, experiences that could light the way for someone else. But instead of stepping into that spotlight, you shrink, you second guess, you think, but where would I even start? What would I even say? Or my personal favorite, who's even listening? Sound familiar? If so, this episode is for you. But before we get into it, here's our song clip of the week. It is clip 2 from my song, The Vow, part 1 of which I shared last week. And this is part 2. So sit back and enjoy.
Heaven was a witness that day, the day I asked you in my life, the angels sang. It's plain to see that you and I were meant to be. They say the best things in life are free. You are a gift from above to me. I hold you in my arms and look into your eyes and say,
Welcome back to Dream in Action, the show where dreams are encouraged and action is always celebrated. I'm TRE, your host and fellow midlife creative, and today I want to talk about something that has come up quite a lot lately with clients, with friends, even a conversation that I had this last weekend with an incredible accomplished woman who said to me, I want to share stories, but I just don't know where to start. Well, this, my friends, should be a good one. And hopefully it should help you answer some of those questions that are lurking in your mind when it comes to sharing your story. So without further ado, my name is Tiari, and this is the Dream in Action podcast. Have you ever felt like you were just existing, not truly living? Like you were made for more, but somehow life got in the way? Hey, I'm TRE, your host, transformational coach, and dream doula. Welcome to Dream in Action, the podcast where we don't just talk about dreams, we bring them to life. For years, I nurtured others, first as my mom's oldest child, then as a mother myself. And then somewhere along the way, I lost me, stuck in autopilot. But I was never able to shake the fact that my mom passed away at just 42, full of unfulfilled dreams. And I knew I couldn't keep waiting. So I embraced the stretch, took action, and found opportunities in places I never expected. Now, I help women over 40 do the same. Stop waiting, start dreaming, and take bold action. If you're ready to go from feeling stuck to building something meaningful, you're in the right place. This is Dream in Action. So when I say share your story, what does that actually mean? Let's start here, because for some of us, even the phrase share your story feels vague and probably slightly intimidating. Now, let me get something clear. Sharing your story doesn't have to mean writing a book or jumping on stage. It can be saying the thing you never said out loud. It could be posting something honest instead of polished. It could be starting a conversation or recording a voice note or leading a workshop or mentoring people, or yes, writing a book if that is what you feel led to do. It could be writing a blog or sending an email you've been holding back on. At its core, sharing your story is an intentional act of telling the truth about what shaped you in a way that helps someone else feel seen. It's letting yourself be known, even in small doses. Okay, so now let's talk about why we don't do this. Because sharing our story is obviously a good thing, a needed thing, even for richer, intentional living. So why aren't we doing it? And no, it isn't because we don't have anything to say. I know that already. You would not have clicked on an episode that talks about sharing your story if you didn't have anything to say. So we have that out of the way. And it is easy to say it's fear. And you know what? It is to some extent. We are scared of what people will think, right? We are scared of not doing it, and I'm doing air quotes, right. We're scared of choosing the wrong platform. We're scared of being too visible or not being visible enough. And worst of all, we are scared that our story doesn't matter. That it's not big enough. It's not dramatic enough. It's not special enough. Fear, in my opinion anyway, is not the whole story. So let's go a bit deeper because I know you're not here for surface level pep talks. There are three other reasons I see, especially in brilliant midlife women. Reason one, you've been the safe space for everyone else. Now, this one I resonate with deeply because growing up as the firstborn daughter of my mother in an African household and being a natural leader, this was and still is my experience. You're the one people confide in. You're the one who holds space. You absorb pain. You listen deeply. So when it comes to your story, you've been taught, whether that is implicitly or explicitly, that it's not about you. That being vulnerable makes things messy. That taking up space is somehow, for you, selfish. You've built your identity on holding others and never learned how to reveal yourself. No wonder sharing your story feels foreign. Reason two, you were too busy surviving to document anything. Again, another one I totally resonate with. Guys, this is literally me sharing my own story, and I'm hoping that it is making you feel seen through my telling it. Now, let's be honest. Some of us didn't have time for breath work or journaling or meditating through chaos. I mean, I preach these things now because they have helped me a ton. But there was a time that I was just trying to get through the day. So if this is where you are right now, trust me, I get it. When someone says, share your story, your mind draws blank. What story? You weren't thinking about meaning or legacy. You were just trying to make it through without breaking. But just because you didn't write it down doesn't mean it isn't valid. And just because you are still processing it doesn't mean it's not worth sharing. In fact, sometimes the telling is what brings healing. The sharing is what shapes the meaning. Now, lastly, reason three. Now, my reason three is a hard one to swallow, but I say it from a place of love, and it may just be the truth that sets you free. I actually learned this from observing one of the most inspirational people I know, Betty Rabo. I recommend grabbing her book, Dust to Dew, if you haven't already. It is the story of a woman, a high achieving African woman, and her journey through depression. For me, it was a real eye opener. And even though I'm a huge advocate for therapy now, I don't know if I would have been if I was of her generation living in Nigeria at the time. Sometimes we don't share our story because we don't want people to know we struggled. We're okay being vulnerable after the breakthrough, but not while we're still in the middle of the mess. And look, I get it. People do tend to pay more attention when there's a neat little bow at the end. They want the victory pose, the glow up, the I made it out moment. So yes, some of that is pressure from external sources. But let's be honest, a lot of it also comes from us. Even when no one's asking us to, we still feel the need to look polished and put together, like we've always had it figured out. And that, my friend, is where pride sneaks in. Pride will have you protecting an image while your story sits on a shelf collecting dust when it was meant to set someone else free. But here's what I want to offer you. How about getting some proof of concept, but not waiting until the story is done to share it? So let me give you an example. Say you are in £100,000 worth of debt and you've paid off £50,000 or $50,000 wherever you're listening to this. Guess what? You can still teach someone how to start getting out of debt based on what has worked for you or what is working for you. You can say, I'm in the thick of this journey. I don't have it all together, but here's what's been working for me, and here's what I've learned so far. Now, that kind of honesty builds trust because people don't need a perfect example. They are looking for a relatable one. They need a relatable one. Sometimes the most healing, powerful thing you can do isn't inspire people with your success, it is to free them with your honesty. A person who has always been strong, and I'm doing air quotes again, is not as relatable as the one who became strong, like Betty Rubble, through her challenges. Now, what I learned from Dust to Dew is this. A person who has always been strong is not as relatable as the person who became strong through their challenges. So why is midlife the perfect time, in my opinion anyway, again, to show up? Because women in midlife, they have lived, they have loved, they've lost, they've learned. We've got battle scars and beauty marks. And most importantly, we've got perspective, wisdom. We can look back and connect the dots. We know what matters and what really doesn't. At least we have come a long way knowing that. We're a little less obsessed with being liked and a lot more interested in being real. Midlife isn't the end of your voice, my friend. If anything, it's the start of your most honest, most grounded, most you chapter yet. You've lived enough to have something to say. You've made enough mistakes to share what you've learned. You've had your heart broken, your identity stretched, your strength tested, and you're still here. That is saying something. And I know maybe the world hasn't always made space for your voice. Maybe you were too busy raising kids, holding a family together, building a career, or surviving hard things with no time to process them. Maybe you've played small because it felt safer or quieter or easier. But here's the thing. That doesn't mean your story isn't worth telling. It just means now's the time. Not because everything is perfectly packaged in the little neat bow like I shared earlier, but because you've seen things, felt things, and someone out there needs to know they're not the only one. What you've walked through might be the exact thing someone else is walking through right now, and your words and your honesty could be what gives them hope to keep going. So no, you don't need to shout. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to share a bit of the truth that has lived in you. Okay, so now let's address the practical elephant in the room because I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't know how to share it, right? Should I write a book? Should I start a podcast? Do I do a TED talk? Post on Instagram, write a newsletter, maybe speak at an event, maybe make a documentary, or maybe all of the above. Deep breath. I hear you. But let me gently say this with love and zero judgment. You don't need to have the perfect container to start sharing your story. And I get it. It's actually sometimes fun to be in a place where you are daydreaming. And you know I'm a big proponent for dreams, but you're daydreaming about what this container that you're going to share your story is going to be. But trust me, you don't need to have the perfect container to share your story. You don't need branding. You don't need a content plan, at least for now. or a 7-step framework. What you need is courage. You need intention. You need a willingness to be seen, even a little bit. Sometimes that starts with a caption you did not overthink. Sometimes it's a voice note to a friend where you're just telling your truth for once. Sometimes it's journaling your thoughts before you forget how they actually felt. Sometimes it's saying, hey, I've been sitting on this story and I'm not sure what to do with it yet. But here's what I know so far. And that is the work. That's where the work is. You don't need to wait for a book deal to write. You don't need 10,000 followers to have something valuable to say. You don't need to be healed or certified, approved, or platformed before your story has impact. The container often reveals itself after you start sharing, not before. So, if you're waiting for clarity to land like a thunderbolt before you open your mouth, that is a trap. It is perfectionism dressed up as patience. Clarity comes through movement. Direction shows up when you start walking. If you're feeling the nudge but don't know what to do with it, that's okay. Just begin in the smallest, realest way you can. You don't have to go viral. You just need to go first. And when you do, when you start showing up honestly, even in tiny ways, you'll be shocked at who's listening and what opens up because of it. Right. So after all this, you're probably thinking now, okay, T, I want to share. I see the value, but I still don't know what to say or how to even begin. Cool. Now we are getting to the real meat of things. Because the block isn't always fear, as we know. It's not always fatigue. Sometimes it's the weight of everything you've carried. Sometimes it's overthinking. And sometimes you've spent so long hiding or staying quiet that the words, I don't know, feel stuck. So instead of giving you another step-by-step process, I want to offer you something gentler. A few invitations to help you unfold that beautiful voice of yours again. Number 1, start with one true sentence. Not the whole story, not the edited version, just one thing that's real. One thing you know. Maybe that sentence could be, I haven't talked about this in years. Or maybe it is, this still makes my voice shake, but here it is. Or, I'm still figuring this out, but I know someone needs to hear it. Let's be raw. Let it be real, because that's where trust begins. Number 2, speak from where you are, not from where you think you should be. You don't need to tie it all up in a neat little bow. I think that's the 3rd time I've said it today. You can share from the middle, from the questions, from the wrestle. People don't need the perfect story. Like I said before, they need a true one. In the first instance, write, speak, or record just for you. Take the pressure of public off the table, at least in the first instance. What if you just told your story in a voice note to yourself? I used to do this a lot, actually. Or you wrote in your journal with no intention of posting it, just to remember who you are and what you've lived through. Number 3, talk to someone safe. Just tell one person. Not on Instagram, not on a podcast, just someone who gets it. Sometimes saying it out loud, even once, is the unlock you've been waiting for. This isn't about becoming a thought leader. It's about becoming that person who tells their truth. And that starts with being honest, even in a whisper, even in a small, quiet way. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be willing to take one brave step. Hey dreamer, quick pause. If this episode is stirring something in you, but you're not sure how to start, I've got you. Grab my free Dream Activation Kit. It's your first bold step out of confusion and into clarity. Inside, you'll get the Spark session, a guided audio to help you reconnect with what you really want, my Dream Discovery Workbook to map it all out, and Dream Speak, a short affirmation track to boost your belief again. This isn't fluff, my friend. It is fuel, and it is completely free. DM me the word dream on Instagram at HeyTiari or head to the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. So let's land this. If you've been sitting on a story or a message or a moment wondering if it's the right time to share it, this, my friend, is your sign that it doesn't need to be perfect. You did not click on this episode by mistake. You clicked on it because something led you here. And if you were waiting for permission, this is it, my friend. This is it. This is the time to share your story. You don't need a full-blown plan. You don't need to have a book outline or a brand strategy. You just need to be willing to say, this happened and it mattered. Your power lies in your willingness to take action, because someone out there is where you once were, and your voice might be the thing that helps them breathe again. Not your credentials, not your platform, just your courage. So whether you whisper it, write it, sing it, or speak it, my hope is that you will share it. Not for applause, not for performance, but for connection, for freedom, and for impact. I'll leave you with this quote of the week, and it is from Brené Brown, and it says, "Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen when we have no control over the outcome." That right there, that's the whole vibe of this episode. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up as you are with what you've got. And if this stirred something in you, maybe an old dream or a fresh idea or a story that's been waiting in the wings, I want to invite you to download the Dream Activation Kit. It is my free gift to help you reconnect with your voice, your vision, and your next brave move. Inside it, you'll get the Spark Session audio, a short guided coaching experience to help you get unstuck. You'll get the Dream Discovery Workbook with prompts to explore your story and your direction, and Dream Speak, a set of audio affirmations to speak life over your vision. It's all waiting for you. Just check the show notes for the link or DM me on Instagram at HeyTiari and I'll send the link your way. Thank you for being here with me today. If this episode blessed you, would you do me the favor of sending it to a friend who needs to hear it? Or come say hi in the DMs. I love knowing what's resonating with you. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep daring, and keep moving towards your spark. And that's it for today's episode of Dream in Action. I hope this conversation stirred something in you, maybe a fresh idea, a little more clarity, or just a reminder that your dreams are valid and worth pursuing. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new one. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a review helps people find this podcast. It's like telling the algorithm, hey, this is worth listening to. So if this spoke to you today, and you don't even do any of the other two, please share it with a friend or two. Before we go, let me leave you with one of my favorite Bible verses of all time. Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. He will outdo them all, for his miraculous power constantly energizes you. Ephesians 3:20. Until next time, dream wildly, live boldly, and keep going.